Thank you so much for watching Riff TV. Now, this interview is obviously with video, but I don't interview everybody on Zoom. That's why I put it on my Talkin' Rock with Meltdown podcast. We talk to rock artists from all over the genre. So check out Talkin' Rock with Meltdown wherever you get your podcasts. And now to today's video interview.
Vic, great to see you, man. How's things going with you?
Oh, fantastic. Pretty good, man. I am home in San Diego. Just got home from our UK tour and getting our nursery ready for our baby.
Oh, is that right? So all right, now you got to fill me in. Is this your first one or?
First baby.
Yeah.
First baby. It's a daughter. My little girl's coming in February.
Well, that's cool. Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What are you looking forward to the most as far as fatherhood?
God, I don't know. I just want to like meet her and and just hang with her and I don't know, just get to know her because all we get to feel is her moving around the belly right now. So I think we're just excited to meet her.
No, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah, my daughter's 21 and she's a country music fan. So, but you know what? She's a music fan, and I never like pushed my kids in any sort of direction. And I kind of let them discover the stuff by themselves. Is that kind of going to be your playbook, you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'll start her off early. I'm already singing her Beatles songs and stuff like that. So we'll kind of start there, and maybe move into some Stones and maybe to some Aerosmith, and then get into I don't know. We'll see where it goes.
Are you a big Beatles fan? I didn't know that.
I do love the Beatles. I just feel like it's like a good baby place to start with music. I don't know why. I don't know. The songs are so like happy, and at least most of them.
Yeah, the one that pops into my head, like "Here Comes the Sun," something like that. So
yeah, I mean, maybe not "Happiness Is a Warm Gun," but we'll keep we'll play around with the nice ones.
Yeah, keep it positive. So how'd the UK tour shake out?
Oh my God, it was I honestly, I think it was some of the best shows we've ever played, like in our career. It was just like the energy was really, really high, like just nothing we've ever seen. It's just like people had been like locked in their bedrooms and just ready to like rage. So it was freaking wild.
I'll tell you what, when I saw you guys open up a couple days there before Thanksgiving with I Prevail, you're right though. The energy level of your show is just it's unreal. I was pretty impressed actually. There's a lot going on in that stage.
Hey, I mean, we don't want to be boring. I think that's we don't like boring bands. So we want to entertain. We want people to come home with some like lifelong memories and be telling their friends or their parents, and then they did this, and then they did this, and then this happened, and then Jaime fell down because he always falls down. It's like, yeah, we want to have fun up there.
Yeah, and I mean the amount of guitars thrown on stage, I thought was pretty impressive as well. So.
Oh yeah, we broke one on the last tour. So,
yeah, I think I saw the video of that. Yeah. You got to keep your head up. You got to wear like a hard helmet or something when you're on stage, huh?
Honestly, it's the techs that take all the credit for this because they have to catch it. And that's the hardest part. Throwing a guitar is not hard, but catching it is super hard.
No, it's great. So the new record is going to be dropping here. We'll talk about that coming up in a few minutes. By the way, how was that I Prevail tour? Was it pretty good? I mean, what I saw was fantastic.
Oh, it was so fun. Yeah, it was amazing. The whole thing was sold out. Just kids going crazy. Lots of singing, lots of jumping around, and yeah, man, every show was exciting, and yeah, we were super thankful for all the fans coming out. It was great.
And by the way, thanks for the whiskey that you gave me. That was nice. Normally when I go somewhere and I only got beer or something, we were like, hey, we got some whiskey. I'm like, okay, here we go, my man.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, whatever you need, we got it. You want some scotch? You want some good old Jameson? We got you.
Yeah, I had some Jameson for sure. So when is your daughter due? Did you say? I can't recall.
February? February 7th. My birthday is February 10th. Our album drops February 10th. So February is going to be a wild month for me.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. So yeah, the record drops in February, Jaws of Life, and that comes out. This is your fifth album. I mean, talk about recording this record. It's been a long time since you guys put something out.
Yeah, we recorded it in New Orleans, which was really cool. Our producer Paul Meany is from New Orleans, and so we rented a house just outside the French Quarter, and we built the studio in the house, like, just in the living room. We got drums in the living room. We got, the whole thing in there, and we lived there. And so that was just like such a really unique, fun experience to be living in that city and having those vibes of like, because that's a music town, and it was, yeah, super soulful and just super special and memorable.
It sounds like the theme or the plot line for Foo Fighters Studio 666. I don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen it, but did they record in a house?
Yeah, they put the drums in the living room, and then they stayed there and the whole thing, and all sorts of crazy stuff started happening. So,
Oh, dude, I mean, you can record an album anywhere these days.
yeah.
So it's pretty awesome.
Now, I've never been down to New Orleans, but it's like it does have a lot of history, and it's got a lot of energy to it as well. Did you guys pick that just because you're a producer? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, for a couple reasons. Like he lived there, but we just wanted a completely new experience for this album, across the board, so, a completely new producer, you know, new art. Like we started with a new company that does all our design. We had a new drummer on this record. Brad from Third Eye Blind played on our album. Like it was like everything across the board was just a new experience, and we wanted it to be we wanted a different feel, because I think we did our last two records in the same place, and we kind of just needed something different. We were craving that.
Yeah. So did you come into the sessions with stuff demoed out, or was it all from scratch when you first got to New Orleans?
Yeah, we had all these demos. Everything was demoed out. We had a ton of songs, and we narrowed it down to our favorites, and then they progressed from there too. The producer Paul was just like, okay, we've got what's on there. Now let's find out what's not on there, and let's explore. And so it was a lot of like, where else can we take these songs? How can we improve them even more from where they are? And so yeah, a ton of experimenting and getting out of our comfort zones and stuff in a lot of ways. So.
Yeah, and you hadn't put out a record in 7 years. Do you find any added pressure around that, or was this just the natural transgression of where the band's going?
I think all the pressure comes from each album has its own internal, I think, pressures and the things that, expectations that you put on yourself just to make a good album. I don't think it really, when it comes down to it, you really forget about the other album, and you're just so engulfed in living inside of this album that you just want it to be the best that it can be. So my mind really does forget about like what we've done before, and it really focuses on making sure that this is something awesome and something that we're proud of.
And I've asked this to musicians before, but do you write from a place of, I can't wait to play this on stage?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, not always. Sometimes you just want to make a, something, pretty or I don't know. It'll be powerful in different ways. Maybe it won't be a crazy song live, but it'll be powerful to someone in their life. But like, a song like Past the Nirvana, the first song that we put out, that song, man, like I knew I could picture like what was going to happen. I was like, I want the whole crowd to jump when this song kicks in. And I remember thinking about what my hand movements could be for this part. And like, I was planning it all out in my head. And we actually had we printed out these big posters of that photographers throughout the years have taken of our crowds. So we had pictures of our crowds in the studio to kind of remind us of where we're going to be and where we've been, and keep them in mind as we're writing.
That's interesting. That's an interesting studio trick I've never heard before.
Yeah, because we had been off the road for so long. Like we had to really try and remind ourselves, remember where you're going to be. You're going to be in front of this, and that energy is something else, and so that was important to us to keep our fans in mind.
Talk about that song a little bit, Past the Nirvana. I just talked to a Stone Gossard last week, and I can remember the first time I played "Smells Like Teen Spirit" on the radio. Like I can
Mhm.
remember it. I can remember when "Outshine" first came out from Soundgarden, and when I was playing Alive from Pearl Jam. Like that was all at the beginning of my career. So whereabouts were you at that point? Were you discovering music?
Well, first of all, I'm jealous that you got to talk to Stone Gossard because he's one of my guitar heroes.
Yeah, he was
But
great.
yeah, so is your question, or did I grow up in that music? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
is that where you cut your teeth?
Uh, I was always like split between, a lot of bands like you just mentioned, Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and Stone Temple Pilots, and then my other side was the band that I had with my brother, which would be fast punk bands like that were like, from like the Fat Records uh, era of like NoFX, Lagwagon, Pennywise, Southern California fast punk, and so we really perfected like learning that as well. So I would play bars and stuff with my best friend, and we had our rock band where I would learn all those bands, and I would learn how to play guitar solos and learn all this style. And then I would go home and I'd play songs with my brother where we would learn this really fast punk music. So Pierce the Veil basically became a hybrid of rock and roll and punk,
Mhm.
and then also a little bit of jazz that I learned from my dad growing up because he's a jazz guitar player. So a lot of pretty complex chords and stuff, and so yeah, a little hybrid of all these things kind of just you know made our sound.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, bands like Nirvana and stuff, did influence a lot of people,
Hmm.
especially in the '90s. And I can remember I actually talked to Stone about this last week about maybe reinventing. He said they didn't really reinvent anything, although they did change the landscape. They did change the landscape quite a bit.
Yeah, I think they opened things up creatively. Like, we could talk about Pearl Jam all day. Like, I just think, I know they came from '80s hair metal, and they were like on the end of that, and then they just kicked the doors open of like creatively what you can do, and they just kind of like got rid of all the rules, and didn't want to be painted in a corner, kind of like our band as well. We don't want to be told that we're one style, and so we've kind of set that precedent since our first album of having songs that are crazy and aggressive, but then also there's a track that has piano on it or acoustic, or we always left the door open for whatever we wanted to do.
And if I'm not mistaken, did you write some of these songs in Seattle?
I did, yeah. I like to take writing trips and get out of my house and my regular studio, and just makes my brain think differently. And I love Seattle so much. It's like my second home. I would love to like have a place there someday. It just feels. I just love all the music history, the grunge rock vibes. I love the rain, like the dreariness of it. Like, uh, and I lived in a house in Seattle, which was owned by Mike from MXPX. I don't know if you've ever heard of MXPX, but kind of a legendary punk band. Uh, he has a house that's just dedicated to making music. 100-year-old house, 2-story house. They've turned it into a studio, and so I lived there for a couple months. I drove my truck up from San Diego and all my gear in there and set it up in that studio, um, and wrote a couple of the essential songs. I think from the album, I wrote our second single that just came out, Emergency Contact, in that house. And, I sang the vocals there, and the vocals that I sang there are the ones that are on the album. And yeah, we got a lot done up there. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how you put yourself in these different places to get different vibes, I guess, right?
Yeah, you just got to like push yourself to kind of keep your brain moving, because I don't know, you get stuck in the same place, and sometimes you just feel stuck, like you're just kind of spinning. And so I want to, you got to stimulate like your senses a little more, and kind of that really helps me a lot. So
Now, some of the songs on this record here are Death of an Executioner, Even When I'm Not With You, Flawless Execution, of course, The Jaws of Life, Resilience, Irrational Fears, Shared Trauma. There's 10 or 12 tracks on here. Give us like a little bit of the landscape of the land as far as this album is concerned.
Yeah, it's I think it's just a bit of a roller coaster, just kind of like how we like to have our our live sets are always ups and downs, peaks and valleys. You want to like keep things interesting, and so, but these songs were written over like a pretty long period of time. Some of them I started them like 3 or 4 years ago, and then finally finished them for this record. But it's just yeah, it's just a collection of, I think, our favorite work that we really wanted people to hear. And there's a lot of different vibes and a lot of different stories. Every song is a completely different story in my life lyrically, and yeah, they're all like basically just little time capsules, of some sort of important thing that happened in our life.
Were any of the songs written 3 or 4 years ago that you started finished in Seattle or New Orleans, or do they come in all finished?
No, I finished a lot of them in New Orleans. A lot of them, like, a lot of songs are not fully finished. I don't think a lot of bands, I don't think you really ever go in with it like almost 100% done. You always leave the door open for some change at the end.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of them just get worked on over time, and then we really wrap them up in the studio and call them done.
Man, I'll tell you what, you got a pretty exciting 2023 coming up. I'm really happy for you, of course, with the birth of your daughter, and then the Jaws of Life dropping on February 10th. And by the way, since I'm a record guy, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that Revolver has teamed up with you guys for an exclusive metallic copper vinyl variant of this, limited to 500 copies. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've got tons of different vinyls. Yeah, I mean, the tons of touring coming up. I mean, we've already done a ton of touring, and it feels like we haven't even started yet. Like, the album isn't even out yet. So we have a lot ahead of us. Super exciting tours coming up, and planning everything with our team. And yeah, I mean, we are very thankful. Like, I think appreciation is the word that for our band right now. I think since we've been off the road for so long, like everything that we do is like a new appreciation, from being in the studio recording to being back on the road to just honestly just being in a room together. It feels like it's just so nice to be a band again, and to just be back at it, and with a fully new perspective. And it's really important to us that we have this appreciation for what we do again.
Yeah, a few years ago when you would have said that, I would have said, oh, the band broke up or they had problems or whatever the case is. But of course, after that lockdown and the pandemic, it's like it is a whole new world out there when you get back out on stage and see your fans again, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, we're completely different people from the last time we stepped on stage, and that is just like incredible. Honestly, I don't know. I've never felt so much emotionally from the crowd and from being on the road, and it's pretty incredible, because I think we started the band over, I don't know, almost 15 years ago, and we've been building it since then, but we never stopped ever. Like, it's a cycle. You tour, you write, you record. Like, it's just like boom, 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 and then when we finally did stop, it's like, man, it really put everything in perspective, and made us really crave it, and in a really visceral, real way that we've never felt ever. So yeah, it's pretty amazing, man. It's incredible. Like, we have these 3 shows coming up in San Diego that I just like. I'm very just, I don't know what the word is. I just can't wait to do them. I can't wait to see the people. And yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Well, like I was talking with John Waite last week, and it's like when everything's shut down, it's like you miss being around people that have the same like ilk as you do, and you miss being around your fans because they're all there to see you and you're there to see them. in return. And also when that's taken away, it's like, you kind of realize what you were missing when that's all gone.
Yeah. And, you know, I remember like we would get off tour and we'd be home for like a month or two, and we would do interviews and stuff, and we'd be like, ah, man, we can't wait to get back on the road. Like, we miss it so much. Like, I've been home for too long, blah, blah. But I don't think that was really felt deep in a deep way. I think it was very surface. And then, but when you're actually home for years, then it's a new level of internal, like real feeling of like, oh, my heart is hurting because, we're not out there doing what we're supposed to be doing. So, and now our hearts are so full, like, it's just like, oh my God, it's just can't get enough of everything right now. So, and yeah, and it's real. Like it's like, it's in you. So yeah, that's just like such a new feeling. It's awesome.
Yeah, you got those hometown shows coming up, like you said, to wrap up the year, which is going to be awesome for you guys. They're telling me to wrap it up here, but I wanted to give you a chance to plug your Living the Dream Foundation. So we started talking about that a little bit before we started recording. So tell everyone what that's about.
Yeah, Living the Dream is my nonprofit, and we basically just bring kids and young adults who are suffering from life-threatening illnesses, having a rough time. We use our connections and everything that we can do within the music industry to bring them out to concerts and festivals, and our guests get to meet their heroes, their favorite bands. They get to watch from the stage. They get this full VIP experience that really only people in the music industry can provide, because we have all the connections. We know all the bands, we know all the festival runners, and even down to the guitar techs. So we can like really put on an amazing day for these kids, and it's really just using what we already know and just what we do every day for something cool and something for a good cause. So so Living the Dream Foundation, check it out. Like, we're all over social media and stuff, and you can kind of see like firsthand like what it looks like. Like the other day we brought this kid out to one of the Danny Wimmer festivals, and they got to meet Corey Taylor from Slipknot, and you can just watch the interaction and how much it uplifts not just our guest, who is really deserving of this day, but also Corey Taylor. Everyone is lifted, and it's a beautiful thing. So yeah, if you want to check it out, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, it's so cool to use what you do and to bring a smile and not only that, but an experience to people's lives, because that's something you can't put a price on when they get to meet their heroes like that, and their heroes in return are so reciprocal of their of everything.
Oh yeah, and sometimes they stay in touch too. Like they want to like get their information and follow their journey, and it's super uplifting. Our lives like on tour can get a little monotonous, like every day, like doing our schedules and stuff like that. And then when something like this comes along, it really it can elevate your day. It can turn a bad day into a good day, and it can do so much for these kids who are fighting, like really struggling and fighting. And a day like that is like, full of joy and adrenaline and energy that maybe they haven't felt in months. So I really appreciate being a part of it, and I appreciate you mentioning it. Thank you for telling people about it.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds like a really great cause. Now I got to go follow it on all the socials. But hey, Vic, really great to meet you back there before Thanksgiving. Thanks for everything. The show was outstanding. Looking forward to the new record, The Jaws of Life, on February 10th. And really, congratulations. My daughter was born 21 years ago, so feel free to reach out to me if you're looking for any daughterly advice.
Oh wow, yeah, dude. I will need all the good advice you got, man. I am new dad here, going in fresh, so bring it all my way, please.
Well, thanks so much for your time. Have a great 2023, okay?
Thank you, brother.